I got myself into this mess. I need to get myself out. That is a lie from Satan. I grew up on a military base, Army brat, and pornography was around. If I wanted it, it was there at an early age, 6, 7, 8. But it's something that I was aware of, but I wasn't fascinated with it. It wasn't until I was married and had children, I let my guard down. One night, my wife and kids were gone. I just watched a movie. It wasn't even, I don't even think could be categorized as pornographic. It was just an R-rated movie. It just sort of piqued my interest, and then it just kind of grew into more of an obsession or an addiction to where I just kind of wanted more, and I got involved looking at things on the internet. I knew better, basically. I knew that that was wrong, and I justified it. I got to a point several years ago where I just decided, I'm not going to do this anymore. And that's when the issue hit. No matter how many times I tried to stop looking at pornography, it just continued to drive me, and I just didn't have that willpower to stop. And it affected my job. It was affecting my productivity. It was definitely affecting my family life, although I still couldn't see that. Looking back's the only way I see how that affected it. So I got to a point where I was desperate. I didn't know what to do. I actually took a trip to Israel and prayed at the Wailing Wall. And my prayer at the Wailing Wall, I'll say, was, please deliver me from this porn addiction. I got back, and the next week was the worst week of my life as far as my addiction. I just probably looked and did more in that week than many months before. It was just like Satan had a grappling hold on me. And that next week, we were going through a sermon on pornography at church. And that's when someone from church handed me a pamphlet. And I know that was God just handing me that right there, using that person to find me out and show me there was a way out. I wasn't even sure what changing lanes was at the time. He just said it helps with sexual addiction. In my head, I'm screaming, "That's me!" So that afternoon, I sat down with my wife. It was the hardest day of my life to sit down with my wife and tell her that I had an addiction to pornography and that I needed to get help. I tried on my own. I just could not get over it. And she asked me what my plan was, and I was holding that pamphlet in my hand. And I said, I think I need these guys to help me. When I first got to Changing Lanes, it was just like triage. I mean, I was at rock bottom, honestly. And the first part of Changing Lanes just works on that, stopping the behavior. And I thought really that's what the whole program was going to be, stopping the behavior. I'm like, if all I can do is behavior change, I'm good. I know I'm a Christian. I know I messed up, but I know if I can just stop that, then I'll be great. But that's not really what Changing Lanes is. Changing Lanes teaches you how to grow closer to God, turn your focus from whatever activity you're doing, and teaches you how to have a relationship with God and how to change the way you think, really. And this is such a wonderful group of men that are all on the same mission and all have the same goal. Because doing it on my own and trying to stop things my way didn't work out too good. One thing the pastor said, and I'll never forget it during the sermon, was, you have to tell your wife and she's not going to be happy. And that's enough to keep me from telling my wife, but I knew I had to. I just didn't know how. Ever since, it's been 2 years, and she has been the most gracious, forgiving wife I could ever ask for. And I've learned through Changing Lanes positive ways to deal with bad things and stress happening in my life. And now stress still happens, bad things happen every day, but I'm not obligated to follow my sinful nature. I'm not obligated to do what I used to do, because I know now that I need to turn and hand it over to God.